Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I live in Vietnam with my 2-year-old son and my partner who is Vietnamese. We have lived here for almost 8 months now, and this is what spiked me to do this video, just because I can't believe it's been 8 months. It's just gone so fast, and I think like when life goes really fast, it's because you're enjoying it. But with that being said, there are bad things as well, and these specifically were at the start of when I first arrived here. And there are still a few bad things that do occur to me on a daily basis, but yeah, we'll get to those. But they will be sandwiched together with good things as well, because I'm really not a negative person. Okay, so let's start with when I first arrived here. I do have to admit, the first month went so slow. I think it was the slowest month of my whole entire life. And obviously with Theresa May at the start of the year saying about a strong and stable government, that obviously made me feel like I should be back in the UK. But with this sense of instability, I had no job, no income, obviously. Along with that, you can only open a bank account here once you do have a job. So I was so used to using my card to buy things in the UK, and then to come here and have to use cash and not really understand the currency. I was constantly converting this currency back to pounds. But now that I can go out and know that someone charging me 100,000 for fur is, they're ripping me off. But yeah, along with not having an income or bank card, I also didn't have any friends, and that is really hard. I obviously had Eric here, who is my partner, and my son Edward, but I don't know, you need friends. Well, at least I do. I know some people can get by with just being themselves, but I don't know, I think socialization is such an important thing for me, and not having any friends to slag my partner off to, that was really hard. But now that I have started my job as a teacher, I absolutely love it. So as an expat in a country where English isn't the native language, as an English speaking person, the first option you usually think of is, I'm going to be a teacher. Which is not true, because there's plenty of opportunities here other than being a teacher. But I thought that this was something I was limited to. And it wasn't something I really had a desire to be, like a teacher. I didn't think I would be very good at it. But now that I am a teacher, I absolutely love it. I honestly think teaching is such a valuable job, and I really want to expand this career and go into teaching other subjects other than just teaching English. So now let's sandwich that nice goodness with something bad. As an expat in Vietnam, you do get paid a good salary, especially to the living wage. Like, things here are so cheap. But the Vietnamese people, who are so hardworking, they get a fraction of an expat salary, and that makes me so mad. It does in a way make me feel so guilty for how much I get paid compared to my partner, who is working like 48 hours a week, and he's an electrical engineer, and yeah. So kind of contradictory to that. A good thing is, because I don't live in the centre of Ho Chi Minh and I don't really go to Western places to eat, I can eat out every single day. Like, the living wage here is a lot lower, so food therefore has to be a lot cheaper. I can literally count on my hand of how many times I've cooked whilst being here for 8 months. Okay, so the bad thing about eating out every day is that you are more likely to get ill. So in the UK, I am very rarely sick. The main times that I end up throwing up all day is because I'm hungover. Yeah, I can't handle my drink. So I have been sick 3 times whilst being here. So not just throwing up, but like where you feel like you have a fever and you literally can't get out of bed, and if you move at all you're gonna throw up. So yeah, that's happened 3 times whilst I've been here. The first time was horrendous. I must have eaten something just before we went to Cambodia, and then we were away for 5 days, and for 3 of those days I was just in bed the whole time, just throwing up, and oh, that was awful. And then the second time was during my CELTA course, and if any of you guys have done a CELTA before, you know that by missing 1 day you miss a lot, because it's an intensive course. It's only 4 weeks, but by missing 1 day you might as well just like drop out. But I went there for like half the day, and in the afternoon I was like, I cannot do this, I'm gonna have to go home. And I got a lift back from a Grab driver. And if you don't know, Grab drivers are basically like Ubers. They pick you up, but they pick you up on a moped or a motorbike. This is not like a highlight of my life. Near my home there is a market, and the driver slowed down to drive through this market, and I threw up. I threw up all over the driver's leg and foot. But I have been in taxis in the UK where I have been sick, again because I can't handle my drink, and they basically just chuck you out and they fine you later on. But here, like, the poor guy, I was sick on him, and he bought some tissues and some water for me from the stall on the market, and the market people offered me a chair, and I sat there still throwing up, and the driver waited for me until I felt better again, and yeah, on our way back home. But that just shows how nice Vietnamese people are. Like, oh my god, I felt so sorry for the guy. When we got to my house, like, we offered him some water and some soap to wash his leg. And then the third time I got sick was a few weeks ago, and I was only sick during the night, and then I felt a little bit nauseous the next day. But I feel like every time I have been sick, it has decreased the amount of days that I have been sick for. Okay, so I'm sorry I had to share that with you. I'm gonna put another good thing onto this list, and that is the people that you meet when you go abroad. So I honestly think this is one of the best things of being an expat. You meet people from all around the world, and they are extremely open-minded. I mean, they are in the same situation as you, really. They've come to a country that they don't know, and they're clearly very open-minded people and very intelligent people. And yeah, I absolutely love meeting other expats, and yeah, I've made a lot of friends here, and yeah, oh, I just love them all. I think when going to another country, it is really important to not only make friends with the expats, but also with people whose country you are in. The Vietnamese people that I have met are some of the nicest people I have ever met. Like, even when I'm walking down the street here, I think because mainly I don't live in the centre, so there's not many foreigners around these parts, so people will always say hi to me. I mean, it does get a little bit annoying sometimes, but it just shows that people are so friendly, and they want to say hi, and they want to use English as much as I want to use Vietnamese as well. Although, like, I've made a lot of new friends here, I've met a lot of people, I really miss my friends from back home and my family. And I think that is one of the hardest things about being an expat. You do miss out on certain events. Although I am going back for my best friend's wedding next year, and I'm gonna be a bridesmaid. It really sucks that I can't be there for the build up to the wedding. I can't be there going wedding dress shopping with my best friend, or picking out bridesmaids dresses together. Although it is good that I am going back in time for the hen do, so. And also, another bad thing, I missed out on one of my other best friends' 30th birthdays. But the thing is, you can't go back for every single event. And as an expat, it is so hard to decide when to go back and for how long as well. And it sucks that I'm not going to be there for Christmas, And this is going to be my first Christmas that I've spent away from my family, and my grandma's birthday is also on Christmas Eve, so that's going to be the first time in a very, very long time, if not for my whole life, that I've not seen her on her birthday. But at least here Christmas isn't really a huge thing anyway, so hopefully when it does come to that Christmas time I'm not going to be completely depressed. So next, because I'm definitely not a negative person, I'm gonna say something else that's negative. So as you might know, I have talked about in my previous videos about mental health, and when you do move country, it doesn't just magically fix your mental health. Although I have had therapy, I know how to handle my mental health a lot better than I did previous to this. And when I do have these bad days, I just think like I want to go home, and I think that kind of goes in with feeling like an outsider here. Where is home? When I say I want to go home, I want to go back to the UK. And oh god. Okay, so basically when I have a bad day, I just feel like I want to go home, and like it sucks that I don't think of this as my home. Even on days, like I still find myself saying to my partner, oh, let's go back to your house. And then I think like, no, that's really my house as well. Like we both live here, but this is different because this is my partner's childhood home, and I don't know, maybe it's where I live, but I'm not about to move out, and once we do live somewhere else, it's not, I might find that it's still the same and I still think, oh, I want to go back home. But yeah, I find that quite hard to talk about, especially to my family and my friends back home, because as an expat, I think people think that you do have this really, really good life, an exciting life, doing different things all the time, which is true. Like I have way more of an exciting life than I did when I lived in the UK, but you do still have these down days, and I feel sometimes weak, or maybe like I don't have a right to think that my life is shit when in that moment I do feel like that. But I feel like I have no right to think like that. I don't know. I find that quite hard to talk about. Maybe I should start talking about mental health a little bit more again. But I'm gonna leave that where it is for now, and maybe I'll make another video on it another day when I'm feeling a little bit better. So contradictory to that whole point, on the days that I do feel really good, I remember like last month I did have a sense of like, oh my god, this is stability, and I do feel like I am at a point of my life where I feel secure. I definitely feel financially more secure than I did when I was in the UK, and I know that Edward, my son, absolutely loves living here. He has settled in perfectly, although we are still at a point where we don't really know if we are going to stay in Vietnam or if we are going to move somewhere else. At this point in time, I would be more than happy just to stay here for the next 5 years, and that was a weird feeling, because even as a kid I never felt like I fit in anywhere. For a fair few years of my childhood, when I was in primary school, I was told that we were gonna move. So when we did eventually move, I still didn't feel like I fit in, because everyone was everyone's best friend because they've known each other since they were born, and I was there like, oh hi, I'm new to the town, I don't really know anything, I don't know anywhere. So yeah, that caused me to think that I didn't fit in where I lived. And then when I was 18 and ready to go to university, I was like, fuck this town, bye. Like I honestly, I hated where I lived. I've always hated where I lived in this town. I'm glad I don't live there anymore, and when I say I want to go back home, I know I won't return to this town. So long story short, I basically felt like I never fit in anywhere until this weird revolution I had last month. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I fit in here, and it was so overwhelming. I've never felt like I could live in a place long enough to know that this is where I want to be. I know that that point completely contradicts the previous point, but I should say the previous point is when I do have bad days. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, leave it down below. If you have any relations to what I have said about being an expat and you're an expat yourself, I want to hear your stories, whether they're similar to mine or any good or bad points that you have with being an expat. I would love to know, and yeah, let's make a conversation down below. But yeah, I hope you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.